Hi, I'm Tom. Bad company corrupts good morals. Choose your friends wisely. Some may not be a good fit, even if they are nice people. Finding a friend is like trying to find a coin at night in the middle of the forest. Even if you are alone, Jesus is always in your boat with you. But the wicked will lead you astray. The friend of a fool suffers harm. Whoever is the world's friend makes himself God's enemy. Hang out with the wise and you will be wise. Do you want to be wise or a fool? God gives us a choice. We can be wise or we can be a fool. If we want to be wise, then we shouldn't hang around foolish people. If you want a wise friend, then you must choose to be wise yourself. Because a wise friend would not want to hang around a fool. You really don't need many friends. One or two good friends are better than many foolish friends. And remember, a friend loves at all times and tells you the truth if you start acting like a fool.
So what kind of friend are you? What kind of friends do you surround yourself with? If bad company corrupts good morals, then good company can help you keep your godly character and have good morals. If I hang out with people who are always swearing, I will probably have a foul mouth too. And if I have friends who are cheating and they think that that's okay to do that, I will probably eventually be cheating too. But if I have friends who are honest, I am more likely to be honest. And if I have friends who work hard, I will probably work hard too. It just makes sense. Who you hang around with is who you will be more like. Proverbs 27:17 tells us that as iron sharpens iron, so a person sharpens his friend. When I asked my 17-year-old daughter what might be a good lesson, she said that it would be good to talk about how important it is to stick with believer friends and spend time on those relationships. It's not wrong to have acquaintances and people you're friendly with who are not following Jesus, but if those are the people you confide in and let guide you, you will probably keep falling off the path that Jesus told us to walk on. I told my daughter that that would be a great lesson, but most of the people watching this don't have a church that they're going to, and they don't have a like-minded youth group where they can meet friends, and even adult believers have a problem with this. So it's kind of hard if you don't have a place that you're going to. So what are the options that you have? Well, if you have a good friend that you really care about, share the kingdom hope with them. That's the first thing, and that's probably the best thing. Also, number 2 would be online. Most young people sit and text and connect online anyways, even if they live by each other, and sometimes even if they're in the same room. Number 3 would possibly be summer camps. You can meet people there and keep in touch. And if you're interested, you can reach out to me and I can tell you where there are several camps here in the United States anyways that know and believe about the one true God, the human Messiah Jesus, and the coming kingdom hope. I know when I was growing up, the friends that were also sisters in Christ, they're still friends with me today, most of them. And even after going to Russia for nearly 20 years, when I would come back from time to time and we would see each other, it was just like we had never been parted. We just pick up right where we had left off. And after I moved back here now, I'm still very good friends with them. And on the other hand, friends that I did a lot with and played sports with and that we did a lot of like things together, we had a lot of the same interests, they just became old friends from the past. That's not bad. They're still nice people, and maybe we see each other once in a while, but not very often. But the bond is not there like it is with the fellow kingdom friends that I had. Even those I've never met in person, like many of the ladies on my Bible studies, I feel closer to them than the people that I've known for 30 years who are not like-minded believers. So don't be a dull blade. Pray for some good iron in your life and be some good iron for somebody else's life. Because as it says, iron sharpens iron. As Clay Dude Tom also shared from James 4:4, do you not know that friendship with the world means hostility toward God? So whoever decides to be the world's friend makes himself God's enemy. To me, that sounds pretty scary. I don't want to be God's enemy. So what do you think that means, though, to be the world's friend? And I know I wouldn't want to risk making myself an enemy of God. Well, if you are a friend of the world, that means you spend your time pursuing mainly the things of the world. And that doesn't mean you don't work or study or anything like that. But if your whole focus is just doing the things that the world tells you to do for usually your own selfish ambition, not because you're trying to help other people or provide for your family, but that makes you a friend of the world if you follow the morality of the world. You know, you want the latest technology, you want to hang out with the cool kids. Doesn't matter if they're very godly or not. You don't bother obeying or respecting your parents. You just do what you want to do, and you don't really listen to what God has told you to do or your parents. Jesus told us in John 15 that his commandment is to love each other like he loved us. He was a good example, so we have somebody to look at to know how we should love people. He gave us that example of how to live and how to love people. He said there's no greater love than giving up what you want, even if it means your own life, for a friend. It isn't just about being willing to die for your friend like Jesus did for us, because most of us will never have to do that. But it's about giving up what you want, about your own selfish desires, and letting your friend have what they want. You try to meet their needs, not just your own. Maybe you want to go out for pizza, but they want a salad bar. So you go with them to the salad bar, and you're happy knowing that you are blessing them. You are truly happy because they are happy, because you love them. Jesus said we are his friends if we do what he commands, because we love him, not because we are his slave. In the same way we choose to obey Jesus because we love him, we should do the same with our parents because we love them. We obey them. Maybe you don't feel like picking up your room, but you do it because you love your mom and you know that's what would please her. And we know that obeying and honoring our parents is the first commandment God gave us that has a promise attached to it. Young people who are friends of the world, they just blow off their mother's commands and their father's commands and even Jesus's commands. A friend of the world says, I will lay in my bed playing video games rather than pick up my clothes off the floor. A friend of the world would say, I'm going to go tell on my sibling rather than just put his dish in the sink if I see it on the table. A friend of the world says, I will do what I want and what makes me feel good rather than thinking of another person or obeying those in authority like parents or God and Jesus. A friend of the world chooses to think, say, and do what God and Jesus have told us not to think, say, and do. And as the verse says, a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Jesus said, I have called you friends, and I command you to love one another. Are you going to be Jesus's friend, or are you going to choose to be the friend of the world? If you have other friends, even just one, that love Jesus and want to follow him, then you are very blessed, and you will sharpen each other and become more like Jesus, and you will think of other people and love those around you, and you will find genuine happiness. Choose to be wise, not a fool. Hang around wise people, not fools, even if it has to be online. Be aware of not only what is around you, the kind of movies you watch, the music you listen to, what TV shows you watch, and what games you play, but also be aware of who is around you. Walk with the wise and grow wise. Don't hang out with fools and become a fool yourself. When you choose God's wisdom and you choose to obey him and choose to think of others and show love to them, you will experience much greater happiness than if you just think of yourself and what you want and what you think makes you happy. I challenge you to give it a try, to think of others first and show love to them, starting with your siblings, your friends, and especially your parents by obeying them. And after a week or two, share what happened in the comments below. This way we can encourage each other and help each other out because we're not in person. So challenge your friends to do this too. And when you do, I bet you're going to find out which ones are wise and which ones are fools.